Good to go.
All right, thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
I will call this October 18th, 2022 meeting of Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to order. Will all please rise for pledge of allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. Row officer reports and comments. Looking out at the audience today, I'm not seeing any row officers with us. Public comments. Do we have any member of the public wishing to make comment at the current moment? Seeing none. Physical and contractual. We have mercifully 2 repository properties up for consideration today. The first is discussion of possible approval to accept the bid by Andrea Russo for repository property located at 705 West Avenue, City of Newcastle. I believe these both were denied for different reasons. The Russo, this one bid amount $600, but there was incomplete paperwork. It looks like from the city side. Did we receive all the paperwork for that? I don't know if there's other paperwork we have to receive or.
No, the only thing we received the city's rejection.
So we just know it's incomplete paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a little bit more of an explanation on that, but unless there's any questions or comments, we make that 2022-334.
334.
Are there any questions, comments on that? No. I'll take a motion to accept the bid.
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
No.
Commissioner Vogler?
No.
Commissioner Boyd?
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you. 335 made by Clayton Williams in the amount of $500 for repository property located at South Crawford Avenue, parcel ID number 03-141200. And this was denied by the city with the rationale being that the bidder owes back taxes, which is a legal reason to deny an individual repository property. Questions, comments on this? I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? 335. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
No.
Commissioner Vogler?
No.
Commissioner Boyd?
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you. No advertising bids proposals, no receipt of bids proposals. We do have 2 warrant registers dated October 13th and October 12th, 2022. I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to accept and file the warrant registers.
So moved.
Bear with me just a second.
That's it.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of minutes from Tuesday, October 11th, which was our last public scheduled commissioners meeting. And again, I'll take eventually let my colleagues look those over and take a motion to approve the minutes or make any changes necessary.
So moved.
Second. Motion second for discussion. Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no presentation of written communications today. Staff reports. Any member of staff has anything to report above and beyond what's already on the agenda? Seeing none, I have no comments today. Dan, you're up next. All yours.
I don't believe I have anything either. If I do, I'll jump in, but right now I can't think of anything. Thank you.
Sounds good, Loretta?
Nothing here. Thank you.
Beautiful. 3-0.
There we go.
We have CYS resolutions as promised by Mike. These will take no longer than 60 seconds.
That's enough.
Thank you, sir.
So we're gonna make this, we'll make these 336, 337, and 338. Mike, if you just want to go over all of them in one go, and then we'll take them as a package, unless
Yeah.
anyone might call it object to that.
Okay, blueprints is the foster care. We haven't used them in a few years. So basically, again, like last meeting, we need some backup in case we have children. Okay. Alternative living solution is an independent living that we have a child that's over 18 that needs a place. So they agreed to take. That was for alternative living solution.
How long were we responsible for the care of child or the adult at this point?
Well, I think that indicated at 23. That they could be in.
Wow.
Could be mistaken.
I think it's 2022.
Is it 22?
I believe it's 22.
Yeah.
Unless it's
It's-
changed.
With a disability as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could
Okay.
be 22, I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I knew it was over 21.
Well, and if I may, just to zero in on that, does the individual have to be in the system? I hate
Well-
that term, but prior to being 18,
They've been,
or can they enter
Good
this
questions, yeah, right, good
at age
questions.
19?
Right.
they've been in our system for.
Okay,
This
that,
child has been in our system for
okay,
probably over 10 years.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to determine. Is that the
They-
policy that if they're in the system before
They can
turning
remain.
18, there's eligibility for them then to continue, given the circumstances, they
right.
can continue beyond age 18.
Yeah.
But if a situation arises and the person is 19, can that come through your office?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
on
that's
on
all
that
right.
part.
That's all right,
On that
but you've
part.
answered
Yeah,
this situation. so
but
thank you.
most of the time, it's usually they've been in our system for years and
Right.
years and years. And years.
Okay,
In this scenario, they were with a foster.
understood.
I don't know what happened, but they wanted to move.
Thank you.
And we tried several, and this is the one we take. And then Belmont Harrison Juvenile District, that's a JPO. Again, there's nobody in there, they're from Ohio. We just want to get them on the books
right.
in case.
Passing. Questions, comments for Mike?
No,
All right, I'll take a motion to approve 336 through 338.
so moved.
Second,
Motion is second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, a question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel,
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler,
yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Up next, we have Jerry Zona, our Director of Recycling and Solid Waste for both Lawrence and Mercer counties. The resolutions 339 and 340, these are routine mundane resolutions we do. Is this an annual basis or biannual basis?
Well, we'll start with the 902 grant. This grant is typically offered annually by the state. We don't always apply for it because usually when we get a grant, it's for a 2-year period. This grant program funds equipment, public education, and things like that. So what we are applying this time around is another round of a 2-year education program. So if you've been seeing in the Newcastle News and some of the Barton Wolf and a variety of different ads.
yes.
And
Mhm.
things to get us to our website, that's part of the current campaign. Obviously, recycling public education is really critical because if people don't know about it, they're gonna do it wrong, or they might not know that there's an opportunity out there that they should be on. So, the 902 grant, this year we're applying for roughly 47,000. The campaign that's currently running is just over 60,000. Okay, the 904 recycling grant, this is an annual one. This is basically a reward type program that the state rewards you for how much you've recycled last year. We anticipate anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000, which depends on how the state runs those numbers.
Questions, comments for Director Zona?
No,
Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve 339 and 340.
so moved.
Second,
Motion is second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel,
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler,
yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr.
thank you.
Jerry.
Up next, we have 2 resolutions from our planning department. One is hazard mitigation, and the second is something I know all 3 of us are excited for, allowing allocating some matching funds from our American Rescue Plan allocation to help out some of our municipalities and one of our nonprofits with some recreation funding. But Amy, how are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thanks. What do we have going on? 341 hazard mitigation.
This is just a resolution stating our intent to participate in the hazard mitigation update, working with FEMA. We're required to update it every so many, I think it was 5 years, but because they're issuing this, we just did the update, but they have this grant coming out, we wanted to make sure we got it in so we can get the money, it's for $100,000. And we work, and Alan's the lead on this, and he works very closely with Chad at the Public Safety.
You answered my question.
Yes.
I'll take a motion, we'll do this, but I think we'll probably make some comments on the next one.
Right,
Take a motion to approve 341.
so moved.
Second.
Motion is second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, 342, Andy, what's going on?
This is the Lawrence County Recreational Improvement Grant Match Program that the county commissioners created and agreed to set aside a certain amount of money out of our ARPA funds. I think it was $350,000
Get close to
in
that.
total, something like that. So we had an application that was sent to all of our municipalities, any nonprofits, and the conservation district was also able to apply. Applications were due by 4 o'clock on Friday the 14th, and we received a total of 4, which would be 3 municipalities, 1 nonprofit, North Beaver Township, Bessemer Borough, Wilmington Township, and Newcastle YMCA. North Beaver Township is for their park, which is right behind the township building. YMCA is for actually up at the Y zone, Preston Y zone. Wilmington Township is for Marty Park, which they've put a lot of money into that park over the years. And Bessemer Borough, which is at Bessemer Lake Park, which they did a master site plan using DCNR funds, so they're gonna be able to use these funds to implement that plan.
Phenomenal. I'm glad that we were able to do this.
absolutely.
I'll note that this is not guaranteed money. They will only receive this money if they're successful in applying for DCNR's current recreation grant. At the same time, I know this board and prior boards placed a lot of focus on improving our recreational assets around Lawrence County. This is just a continuation of those efforts, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing these projects come to fruition. If not, I'd say we'd be likely to run a similar grant program like this with ARPA funding for DCNR's next grant round that comes out in spring. This one was a very fast turnaround. The state's trying to get some of their ARPA funding deployed, so the municipalities really didn't have a whole lot of time to pull together a project. The only way really to get a project in under this current DCNR grant is if you have one in the chute already. The next grant round, which again will be in the spring, if municipalities, nonprofits, the conservation district have any potential ideas for projects, they'll have the winter to flush them out, and then hopefully we'll be able to help them out again next spring. But any questions, comments from my colleagues on this?
And just to reiterate what you said, that so glad to be in a position to assist with any type of recreational programming that any municipality or nonprofit would have. And again, to say, yes, it was a quick turnaround, but I know I would be more than willing, since we didn't even come close to the amount of money that we put aside for it, to continue to have that be available for next year for the next round of funding for DCNR.
Thank you. Well, delayed reaction, I do remember what I wanted to bring up 15 minutes ago, and both of you helped trigger that. No, this is a good thing.
Then my day is complete.
This is a good thing. I stopped out yesterday at Quaker Falls Park in Mahoning Township, and I'm not sure if Debbie's aware of this, but we applied for safety grant money through the County Commissioners Association's insurance programs, and we secured enough funding through this grant to put up safety fencing along the the perimeter. Maybe you're better at describing.
Edge, basically.
Yeah, the overlook.
The overlook, right.
We were concerned about maybe somebody slipping and falling down that steep drop. And the fencing looks great. You can still see the falls, but it's very tasteful. It's very nice.
Yes, very nice.
And
Yes.
again, we were able to do that without utilizing general fund dollars. So my thanks. Joe played a role in that too. So my thanks to you for that, but it looks good.
Thank you. We're excited to have it up there. And the DCNR grant that we received from the spring round will be putting in additional safety measures too on the other side to put an overlook there so people can go and safely look over the edge, so it's good.
And the park looks great.
Good.
It
And
does.
it's really good, with the sidewalks and the bridge and just everything about it. The water was flowing, the waterfall looked nice. While we have you, and I'm catching a cold on this, but the Stabbage Bike Trail experienced some damage due to some heavy rains. And I believe you're addressing that, is that?
Yes, the area of major concern, which we had talked about, has been fixed. And then we're working with Joe for the CCAP, the safety grant, to be able to apply for that so we can correct the other areas that are of concern but weren't we need to get taken care of quickly, so.
So anybody utilizing the trail should still exercise some caution, is that correct? There's a
Yeah.
couple areas,
Couple
particularly for bicyclists, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It might be a little bumpy that they gotta keep an eye on.
Yeah, so we are going to hopefully take care of that as soon as we can. We're working with Joe for the grant for that. The area of major concern where people were calling and asking if how we could fix it had been taken care of. So
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you. And then, could I ask, I know later in the meeting, we're gonna be moving forward on the liquid fuels. Would you mind if Amy sticks around just so she hears what we have to
Yeah,
say?
sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work on this, Amy.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
worries. Yeah, thank you. And there were a number of other, I know we only have 4 successful applicants, but we did have one applicant reach out to us, but just to reiterate what you said over, it was a quick turnaround and they had some additional requirements. They had a minimum ask. So some of people had smaller projects and normally in our spring round, they would be eligible because of the minimum requirement that DCNR, they asked them not to submit, so they weren't able to, so. But thank you guys.
Thank you.
Another thing I'll add is I gotta get more creative with these titles. It's the analyst in me, describing program versus something clever. That's what it is. I like it.
You take it, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Right at MasterCard.
There you go.
I'll take a motion on 342.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, 343, this is actually not really a change, it's an extension of a
Right.
pause in policy that we put into place. Previous county policy, and it was good intention, it allowed for employees who did not take any sick days over the course of a given year to receive effectively a bonus at the beginning of the following calendar year. What we learned during COVID is that actually incentivized employees to come to work sick, which is not something that we want policy in place to incentivize. And so we suspended that in 2000, it was either 2020 or 2021. This is a continuation of that suspension. Again, we want our employees, whenever they are under the weather, to stay home, to get better, to feel better. And we don't want to put other staff members, and we don't want to put other members of the public at risk of contracting a disease simply because an employee is trying to get a bonus at the end of the year. Questions, comments on that? I'll take a motion to approve 343.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'll also note before we move on is we've been negotiating that out of union contracts. So Ashley no longer has it. The detectives never had it. We're negotiating right now out of the sheriff's union. We're negotiating out of I guess the Teamsters union is the other big one here now, which is formerly 964.
Good point.
You have some budget transfers here. This would be 344. We received some additional grant revenue fund from our hazmat grants from PEMA. So all this is doing is it's reflecting that additional hazmat revenue coming in and then allocating a line item hazmat expense for it to go out of. Questions on that? I'll take a motion to approve 344.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. This 345 is just moving some money around in our capital fund to cover our security upgrades, the new camera system that we're putting in the jail. Instead of getting on a payment plan for a number of years, we made the determination to pay 50% currently and 50% upon completion of the project. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna dedicate the revenues from our new housing contracts with some of the other counties to backfill this cost, put that money back into the capital fund. But we're certainly glad to be in a position where we can do that, where the capital fund is capitalized. In previous years, we wouldn't have been able to do it. The county's in a pretty good cash position right now, although not the best operational position, but we're working on that. I'll take a motion on 345, unless there's any questions, comments on that.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Beth, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 346. This is moving some money around in our ARPA funds, again, for the jail project. This is our chiller replacement project. Thankfully, we're able to take this out of the COVID fund, as opposed to out of general capital allocations. Again, this will help improve the area. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance over there that we're finally at a point where we're
Catching up on.
fixing up.
Yes.
So questions, comments on that? I'll take a motion to approve 346.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Beth, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have some MHDS transfers. MHDS, and we note this in our human services funds, because we've transitioned over to that block grant model for MHDS. As we approach the end of the year, the needs of our community vary as time progresses. And so that forces us to flex the funding we have in those various accounts to account for that need. So right here, you can see laid out some MHDS transfers in the amount of $450,000 or $450,500, getting that money where it needs to go to best serve our community. So we've got that. And then we have some engineering work that we had done. I forget exactly what the engineering was, either for the courtyard or the sidewalks
Something.
or Quaker Falls or something we got to pay Taylor Engineering. So we're transferring $4,000 out of our contingency. It's getting low, by the way, to general admin to cover those engineering expenses. And I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion second on the admin transfers. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. This is, next is first untable it. I'll take a motion to remove resolution 2022-296 from the table, place it upon us for consideration.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second, any further discussion, hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This is something I'm excited about. When the county has excess transportation funding available in its various transportation accounts, we do our best to help out our municipalities with their various paving projects, their various bridge replacement projects, and other transportation needs that our localities might have. This program is a direct grant program for our municipalities to take advantage of. It represents the single largest appropriation of municipal transportation needs that this county has ever made from a singular grant program. We are allocating $800,000, $400,000 from our liquid fuels fund and $400,000 from our vehicle registration fund to this program to allow for the following activities: construction, reconstruction, maintenance, and repair of public roads or streets, including curb ramps from a road to provide access by individuals with disabilities, bridges, culverts, and drainage structures for which they are legally responsible. And two, the purchase of major equipment such as road machinery requiring price quotes or bids according to the applicable municipal code. That language isn't made up. That comes from the state liquid fuels law, which these allocations are required to follow. I'll note that our selected applicants will receive $50,000 or 33% of their total project cost, whichever is less, in funding for approved transportation improvement projects and equipment purchases, which the municipality undertakes in the 2023 calendar year. So this is open to all of our municipalities. All of our municipalities have the ability to apply for this funding. Again, it represents the single largest allocation of transportation funding that Lawrence County, the county itself, has made to our municipalities, and I'm certainly glad to be in a position to do it. Any questions, comments on this? My colleagues?
No.
Just a couple. This, of course, is a continuation of liquid fuel distributions that have been going on for decades. Although I concur with Commissioner Boyd, this is a very substantial amount of money that we're able to distribute. But you know, I can look back even as far back as the 1950s. And the county government was able to allocate liquid fuel dollars, which of course come from the Commonwealth, with the exception of the note of the registration fee. I appreciate, we kept this on the table for an extra week because I needed to talk to Bill Humphrey, our engineer, just to make certain that there were not any pending substantial projects for our county bridges. And he assures me that there are not, confirming what he had told you. In fact, one of the projects that's still pending is, I think we talked about the Cook's Crossing Bridge on Scott Wallace Road in Little Beaver Township that they're slowly making progress on. That's not a large bridge either, but Bill assured me that particularly since the Commonwealth has established a number of pots of money over the last decade, we used to just get one funding stream from the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are numerous ones, and they have various restrictions and stipulations on each of them. So no, I'm real pleased to see that we're moving forward. I'd like to ask your consideration for one adjustment to this. And it kind of ties in with what Amy said with the recreation grants that we just took action on. The resolution indicates that the deadline for application submission would be December 9 of this year. And as it's noted, these are for projects upcoming in the 2023 year. I'd like to adjust that to be moved to December 31. It's only about a 3-week adjustment. I think what it does, if we get the message out within the next week or so to our municipalities, most of them only meet once a month. And granted, a lot of them would have 2 meetings, but there are some that are going to be meeting after December 9. So I'll certainly support this, but I'd like for you to consider amending it to moving it to December 31 for a deadline, unless I know your office works on this. Would that cause you any problem?
Well, no, I mean, I'm off those days for December 30, and I'm out of town the week of the 7th, 8th, and 9th for a conference. So I would hate for a municipality to be contacting me, and so
You're talking about with the deadline.
the deadline, yeah. But I mean, that's not. I think the end of the year is best, just because, like you said, with meeting dates, Elwood City already met for October, so
Okay.
they're they would meet in November, but they wouldn't meet again in December to act on it. So
But did I hear you say you're
I'm
out
out
of town on county business
Yes.
right around the
the
9th?
7th, 8th,
I
and
see.
9th.
Well, that would be my only suggested amendment to this.
The only, I'm thinking it through, I'm fine with it. The only reason I put December 9th on that was because that gives us a couple weeks to review. It also puts us in a position when we go to approve the 2023 budget, that we're able to allocate the exact amount of monies that we've approved in that budget. That being said, I can just allocate $800,000.
Yeah.
And we can move it around from there if necessary.
Sure, okay.
So I'm fine with moving it back if we're at a.
Yeah, I'm fine. That makes sense, especially knowing now that you're not.
Well, I was
actually going
I was
to
even gonna say, if you wanted me to look at the meeting schedules for the municipalities, and if they all meet by the mid-December, and then move it like a week ahead of the 31st. So it's after all their meetings, but before you guys do the budget too.
That's extra work for you, and as far as I'm concerned, you've got a lot on your plate. It's
If
only
the
a week.
allocation can be done just generally the 800,000, and we could go from there. I'm not opposed to the 31st.
Do you need I'm sorry, has the motion been made to take it off the table?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has, okay, thank you.
So what we'll do, we'll just call it 31st on the thing. So I don't think we officially made the motion to approve it.
We have
We'll
not.
just adapt that there. And then, Vanessa or Andy, you have program guidelines, if you just be able to change that, in the program guidelines. And then we'll approve these, because I think I have an approval date on them as well. Let me find it here.
We'll have to, on page 2 down at the bottom, we'd have to change December 9, second to the last paragraph.
And that's a Saturday. So we may as well make it 11:59 at that point. If anyone wants to put a one in on right before the ball drops.
Are we doing this the same way we did last time, Neil, like the application online?
Yeah,
And
we may as well make it 11:59. And again, if
Google Docs how it was done last time. So.
whatever's easiest for you
Yeah, that's the
guys.
easiest way, especially for this time stamp.
And yeah, if Plain Grove, one of the Plain Grove supervisors is not celebrating New Year's and instead wants to vote their last day of 2022 to,
Morgan, at the top of page
Got it.
2.
Right.
we'll do a approval. Let's do it the 10th, just because we're gonna be doing all the beginning of year stuff. And it'll give us a little bit more time, because we're gonna be off on the second. We'll be off on the 2nd.
Okay.
Which means by the time we come back, once Amy gets those, I don't want you to
Right.
have to be running. We're gonna have to check with our engineers, we're gonna have to, so let's make that the 10th, January 10th, 2023.
That's what you were asking, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because Bill will need to.
Bill will need to review, and we can always push that back if need be, but putting it right up against the new year probably be suboptimal for our staff.
Make sure we put 2023 in there.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we've screwed that up before. I've screwed that up before.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and for us old timers who still write paper checks,
This
that's
is
always
it,
an issue.
always an issue,
You don't have
yes.
to worry about
I don't even have that
Sure, yeah, but
No,
always
I'm
got-
sorry, I have to.
I do.
Pictures.
But no, certainly happy to help these guys out. The other thing I'll note that we need to consider is we have that Act 13 fund, which is specific to municipally owned bridges. I know we have a bridge for consideration right now in Wayne that we gotta act on here in a couple
Right.
weeks.
Sure.
After we act on that, the way that the transportation funding is, we also on SBC, Jan, you sit on Northwest, is there's a three-year plan put in place as to which monies are going where over the course of that 3 years. To better manage that Act 13 fund where we don't have these wide swings and, we've got a lot of funding in, then we have a lot of funding out. And to better manage or assist our municipalities in managing their transportation infrastructure. If an application comes in for a bridge improvement in January, the bridge is in relatively healthy shape, but they're looking at some upkeep versus if an application comes in February, the bridge is getting ready to fall down. Historically, we would have allocated the monies that came in January before we came in February. It makes sense to dig into that process a little bit more again after we deal with the Wayne Township request. And potentially structure a program almost akin to what the state does, where municipalities can apply to be put on a schedule. We have a rough approximation of when we're receiving funding. We'll have a rough approximation of when we'll be expending funding, and we'll be able to work with our engineers to prioritize the bridges that need to get done, as opposed to what's now a sort of a first come, first serve basis. But again, we'll consider that here in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
After we got to get the Wayne Township thing done, I got to get the damn budget done, and go from there.
Makes sense.
So I'll take a motion to approve 296.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? Question on the motion? Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. No ordinances on the table for introduction or final action. There will be a commissioners meeting on Tuesday, October 25th. We don't have a conflict that day. We will have a conflict 2 weeks from that day, in terms of the election.
Yes.
But I think what happened there, we just took the one from
I
from last week. No big deal. We will be meeting next week. The prison board meeting, I believe, also is canceled.
Yes.
So what the announcements are, just inverse them. And
It happens.
it happens. No big deal. No big deal. Anything I'm missing?
That's it.
Any additional public comments? Seeing none, I will adjourn Lawrence County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get over to your office.
Yes, make that.
Sarah list and then.
Yeah, I will.
I'll get about.
No, what we're simply doing is authorizing Amy to communicate with them